and I know people are going to probably not agree with this too much, but how much more are we going to spend on awareness?
Don't Hide the Scars, a weekly podcast focused on addiction and recovery. Created by the nonprofit PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, and founded by Flindt Andersen.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah, okay. Whenever I'm ready. Whenever I'm ready. Yeah, so I got in the debate the other day talking with some about toughest basketball player ever, and I brought up Larry Bird, and they were going, and then they're like, oh, you're right. You're right.
Think about it, man.
Think about it. Yeah, no, I did after our talk.
I know it.
But we're not jumping into that. We want to talk stigma, around stigma. I mean, you know, for so long we've been trying to put that out there, but you're kind of seeing it from a different standpoint right now.
I am.
That maybe it's not as bad as it used to be. Maybe the awareness piece is kind of got in there. What are you kind of thinking and seeing?
I think at this point, look, we've all done an amazing job of spreading the awareness over the last 15 years, at least we have. You know, early on, when I started this, there was really nobody spreading the awareness about it. There were some things going on because of Purdue Pharma, sure, and that whole OxyContin mess back then, and again, that was the starting point, you know, for the opioid crisis that we're seeing today. There's no question about it. But you know, as time goes on, you know, and I know people are going to probably not agree with this too much, but how much more are we going to spend on awareness?
Right.
From grant monies going to different organizations for this, it's still a chore to try to even get some of the awareness piece out there. But with everything that has been done in the past 2 years, tell me one person that doesn't at least know about fentanyl or has heard the word fentanyl. Not saying that everybody knows exactly what it is or how dangerous it is, but for the most part, people know about this, and at minimum will know that one pill can kill.
Right.
All right. So with that being said, how much more effort do we want to put into that as opposed to putting the effort into the treatment side of it? We can talk and talk and talk until the cows come home about awareness. Even to our politicians, they're all on board. There's a word that always fires everybody up, right? They'll even jump on board with the awareness piece. But we haven't gained 1 inch in changing treatment.
Yeah. No. Matter of fact, I think it's gotten worse because it's become more difficult.
Extremely difficult. The fact that people don't understand. Look, when I say people, I'm not necessarily talking about the general public here.
Right.
Okay, I'm talking about the insurance companies. I'm talking about the politicians that don't understand what it's going to take to change, getting somebody the help that they need.
Yeah.
These homeless people, the homeless people that we're seeing on social media, everywhere.
Yeah.
It's human nature to look at a homeless person, by the way, that is doing fentanyl on a street right in downtown San Francisco, defecating off to the side, right? Dying right afterwards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's hard not to go or not to say, look at that scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a scumbag drug addict there.
Yeah, there's still a lot around that addiction is a moral failure.
Yes.
There's still a lot of people that hold on to that.
Yes. But what nobody understands is that person, more than likely, that person was not born a street person. That person grew up in a home like you and I did.
Yeah.
Whether it was one parent or both parents, whatever, they just weren't hatched as homeless, dirty street people. In fact, I would venture to say that addict that I just described more than likely went to a great high school, had decent parents, was taught right from wrong. And this because of whether it's choices he or she made on their own, circumstances, whatever the case may be, is now that street person.
Yep.
We're not seeing them when they were 10 years old.
Yeah. Or even older.
Or even older, right? Going to prom.
Yeah. Listening to you talk reminded me of one of my favorite spoken word artists, and he talks about us, growing up in DC, and there's this homeless guy, and I forget what they called him, like Sky King or something like that. Sure. And he was, he would come up, yellow, red, green, blue, purple. Hey, nice to see you. Can I have $1? Sure, here you go, man.
Right.
And then afterwards, and finding out when he died, after this individual had left the DC area, going back and finding out the drugs and mental health issues didn't take till his 30s. He lost his business, thus he lost his wife, his kids, and everything else. And in that, that pain that he was going through, then went into the state of suffering and addiction.
Right.
Ended up out there on the streets, and he was beaten up so bad one time, and then he got more drugs at the hospital, and then that's what ended up, he just overdosed. Right. And so there are those stories.
There are,
because do you really believe that this man or woman that you're seeing in San Francisco has been there since birth?
Right.
Is that what you think?
Right.
And you think that, much like you say all the time, I never wanted this on my resume.
Never wanted it.
I mean, the reality of it is, for you, me, other people that are here that are helpful and amazing, we could have easily been that. And some of us were.
You bet. So when you're looking, when we're looking at this as a whole, we are not even discussing what is the outcome and how do we achieve that outcome. Because people are asking the wrong questions. They're not only asking the wrong questions, they're asking the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
We as a society and our politicians, they how do they not know that this is a broken system? How do they not know that you almost need to define addiction in two different categories? Those that have the ability to pay and or insurance, and those that do not have the ability to pay and have no insurance or a governmental aid insurance of some kind. Because treatment is split into two. Not everybody can afford a treatment center that is, again, for the lack of a better term, upscale.
Yeah.
And not everybody that comes from an upscale background is going to send their child or their loved one to a county-run facility that looks like dog shit. It's not going to happen. Somebody may send their loved one there after 4 or 5 attempts somewhere else. And when now we have laws basically stating, or insurance companies stating, that they're only going to allow X amount of days into detox and residential. And normally now that's like 17 to 21 days instead of the old 28-day, 30-day program. Yeah. How do these insurance companies not know that this is a mistake?
Yeah.
This is a huge mistake. You can't change or fix anything in 17 days. Hell, you can't do it in 30. You can't do it in 60. You can't do it in 90. But if we at least increase the amount of time that somebody was in a treatment center to between a 60 and a 90-day period, I do believe that those recovery rates would definitely improve.
Yeah.
I really do. Recovery rates now in the United States are 7%. They've been 7%. They stay 7%. It's like it doesn't take a genius to figure out something's not right here. And again, you'll even get people in the industry. Well, they don't unless they want it. Okay, but give them a chance at it.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to get clean unless they want to. We all kind of know that. But if you're just bringing somebody in to give them a few days of a bed, all right, and to get them cleaned up for 17 days, you're just asking for them to go back out and do it again.
Yeah.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised, top-quality care with programs for detox, inpatient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living, support groups, and more. With 50-plus years of combined experience and sobriety, Flindt, Andersen, and Thelma Gatlin Wilson provide adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect, and a safe, comfortable environment. To begin the process of recovery, to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction, call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
Instead of that time allotted, what do people think that after 17 days or 21 days that these people are just going to become members of society again and they're going to go get a job and everything, the past is going to go away, their brain cells are all going to come back, everything's going to be fine? Are they fucking nuts?
Yeah. Well, and that you're wiring new neural pathways, and your reward system has returned to a way that creates empowering choices over disempowering choices. No. And I wonder if you've gone up, you've talked or been in front of legislation. They don't really listen, or
they don't.
You don't have a forum to really sit there and talk. I just wonder if they even really give a shit.
They don't.
And I'll look at insurance just like, it was something we talked about in the past when it comes to big pharma. It's like, a business is a business is a business, and businesses are designed to continue to grow, whatever their product is or service is or whatever it is. And I think insurance, the same thing. I mean, we've seen premiums continue to go up, skyrocket. You get less and less with that amount that you're paying. And I just generally don't think they give a shit either.
They don't. They really don't. How do you get these people to give a shit?
Yeah.
How do you get them in a room and explain this to them? Most insurance companies have doctors on staff that don't even know addiction. Nobody's asking us in long-term recovery, what's it going to take?
Yeah.
You, Bill, you have 25 years. What's it going to take? What was it like for you from the minute you walked in there? I mean, somebody explain your road. How long did it take for that brain to come back? How long did it take for you to become, quote, normal again? How long did it take for you to get a job? How long did it take for your sleep patterns to come back? How long did all these things take to where you felt like you could take a step outside and become a productive citizen again?
Yeah. Well, heck, cravings alone. Remember, we just recently had Thomas Buckley on, the author of Grace and Golf, and we asked him about the cravings, and he said it was about 9 months.
Right.
But I had to fill it with something else.
Right.
And I had to get that repetition, and I had to do the work to continue to build and everything else. But he admittedly had a good track of time in rehabilitation.
Yes, yeah, he did.
He wasn't kicked out after 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And going like, okay, fend for yourself.
But again, that's part of the problem right there. Now, a guy like Thomas or myself at the time, thank God we had the ability and the means to stay a little longer if we had to.
Sure.
The people that don't have that, they're starting in 10th position already. They don't even have a chance at this. Not even a chance. And I know the mental health issue is a big issue today. But we really have to take a look at what came first. Is it the addiction that came first, or the mental health that came first? Chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that has to be determined in order how to treat somebody. A lot of mental health issues are due to substance abuse, and substance abuse mimics those mental health problems.
Yeah, very well.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, and it was pretty interesting. I was watching a thing with Dr. Jordan Peterson,
I know. Yeah.
Very well known. And he was talking about alcohol, and he was making reference to it as an anxiety reliever. But he talked about how yes, it's effective in the sense that people think, oh, it makes you stupid or whatever. No, it takes away the anxiety of making that dangerous choice. That's the trigger, the thing in our brain that goes, no, that's not good to drive while I'm loaded. That goes away. It's all those things that it goes away. But he also made it very clear that it is an ultimate driver of anxiety when you are not. So then when you become dependent, it's that wonderful loop. I'm anxious, so I drink so I'm anxious,
right.
That it keeps going. And whatever the substance is, it's that easy way to get down the hole.
Right.
And looking back, I've thought about it like, was I anxious as a kid? I know I went through depression, but was I anxious? I don't know. Maybe that's just being shy. But then as an adult, and the times it took me several times to get clean, it was like, oh, yeah, anxiety was a huge driver to go back to it, and reflection. And I don't know which one came first.
Right.
But I know it was there.
Right.
I know anxiety was present.
Right.
I know it's gotten a heck of a lot better now that I've been clean over 2 years.
Right. I think that's another thing that's misunderstood. Because a lot of this has to do with time.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And there are people out there that don't want to take the time. There's a lot of people who want recovery, but there's a lot of people that won't fight for it.
Yeah.
And there is a big part of recovery is fighting for it, and is sitting back, waiting, listening, seeing, and then waiting for that change to happen. And that change again takes time, and it's slow in coming. But that has to be taught to somebody too.
Yeah.
So you don't teach that in 17 to 25 days, whatever it is.
Sure, you're just trying to get them to where they don't die from their withdrawals.
Right. That's basically what. But again, there's different phases to the residential rehab.
Sure.
Right. I mean, the detox always comes first. And I'll tell you what, one of the biggest problems after that is parents of their kids. Because what happens is that person feels like they're doing much better because now they've got the drugs out of their system. They actually feel pretty good. They feel okay. And hell, we'll get people that will call their parents, say, hey, can you come get me? And they won't finish it.
Well, and I think that's just an ignorance to the body has a natural desire, the body, the mind, to reach homeostasis. And I know I've definitely gone through it where it's like these huge energy spikes. It's because they were so low. I wasn't getting any of the four: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. And now there's this thing, and I was up. I don't go through manic periods anymore that I know of. Nobody's told me. I don't know, have I? But I certainly used to, because my body was trying to get back to it. So those things were starting to pump overtime, especially if you're using a substance that was killing the production of it.
Absolutely.
So you need to understand that. So of course, I don't know how many times I've seen it with people with a bad breakup or whatever, and I'm ready to go out and start dating. No, you aren't.
Right. No, you're not.
No,
Not
you're
even
not.
close.
Yeah, your brain's just telling you that today because it's been so low.
Exactly.
And it's no different.
Right. But also think about this. If we could put people in treatment that's for longer periods of time, it solves a bunch of issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call Parents and Addicts in Need at 559-579-1551 or check us out online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media at Pain Nonprofit. Please subscribe to the podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. To donate, please click the link in the description and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.
Or it will at least curtail the homeless issue if we had enough treatment centers for people.
Yeah.
Now they have a place to stay instead of being discharged right back to where they came from. And I'm not talking about some, butterfly feeling, Fruit Loop feeling, everything's fine, the world's wonderful. No. And not everybody's going to follow the path.
Sure.
Not everybody's going to follow it, let's face it. But we are smarter than what we are right now. Yeah. And there are ways to at least mend and solve some problems here. Again, we're never going to solve all of them, but there are some methods. But again, nobody's asking that question. Nobody's asking the right people. How do we do this?
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you come in and say, okay, this is how we do it. Now, I don't care what state you live in, it's going to take forever to get something passed because everybody turns this fucking thing into a political discussion.
Yeah. This side, that side.
Right.
Who's the hero? Who isn't the
Who's the hero? Who's not? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
All right.
But you aren't going to do any good. So in your example, I mean, people think about it. So let's take it with someone on the streets. Let's say with the scholarshiping that we would do here, that we're able to do that. We find someone, maybe they were a former vet, ended up on the streets. Very common, sadly. And we get them in there. And let's say we got 30 days. But that person, again, if we're not having some system to help them build different skill sets, then continually addressing of maybe it's a PTSD issue or whatever it is, they're going to return right back out to the streets. And you go live on the streets and tell me that you wouldn't want to use.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, if I ended up on the streets, maybe 5 days before I'm finding something to numb this out.
Absolutely.
And to feel something different.
Absolutely. No question about it.
So yeah, how do we get it to where it's we're not only addressing this issue, giving enough time to get them clean, let alone that maybe now their mind is open to the suggestion of, hey, we're going to help you build some new skill sets too. And you can build a life.
Right.
And we're going to show you some of the tools.
Right.
And we're not going to hold your hand, but we're going to be right there next to you, encouraging you if you fall down to get right back up.
Right. Look, you and I both know that we just can't throw people right back out into the same environment. There are people out there though that will do just that. They will go right back into their own environment.
Yeah.
There are people out there, let's just call a spade a spade. There are people out there that love doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're going to do. And there are people out there that are going to soak the system because that's who they are. That's what they do. But I believe there are so many people out there that want a chance at this. And I'm not saying that you give them everything for free. That's not what I'm saying. Because there's nothing more important in one's recovery than being productive and earning a living, working, being that productive member of society. But again, they're now receiving something for what they're doing. It's a reward. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not being given to them. I don't understand why people can't see that. I just don't get it. Because most of the people that want to give this shit away aren't in recovery themselves.
No.
They think they're doing everybody a favor. That's the last thing they're doing. Again, it goes back to nobody understands the addict. Nobody understands how we think, how we function. None of it. Somehow we've got to get that across to whomever it is. And maybe those recovery rates will jump.
Yeah, we can hope.
We can hope.
And I just wonder, I was watching something, and not that it's right, but it was finding people protesting. I don't remember if it was a brutality incident or whatever it is. And it amazes me, no one is out protesting this.
No.
Like people, this is taking far more than, and not to lighten what those are, but domestic situations or brutality situations or whatever. I mean, this is thousands by the thousands in each and every state in this union that is the United States, let alone globally. But there's no protest. There's nobody walking. We don't want fentanyl in our streets.
Right. They're not doing it. Well, we have the same problem here, right?
Yeah.
We're going to Sacramento. We're trying to do whatever we can, and we make the announcement to the community, right? This is what's happening in Sacramento. We need your help. We even tell our own parents here. This is going to piss some people off. We even tell our own parents, we need you. We need you in Sacramento. Not saying that we're going to get anything passed, but they need to hear from more than just the 5 of us.
Yeah.
And who showed up? 0. Don't tell us you're going to support this and then not do anything about it. I'd rather have you say, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. You know what? Hey, I think what you guys are doing is great. Keep up the good work. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have this or that to go up and do it. I'll respect you for that. But don't sit there and say, why aren't things changing when people aren't getting off their own asses to say something?
Yeah.
I would venture to say, if I took 500 people and asked them to write a letter to their congressperson in Sacramento or their assemblyman, whoever, I would venture to say that less than 10 would. I really do.
I think you're right.
I know I am.
I think 5. I think you get 1 per 100.
Right. And I'm even talking about the people that their loved ones are now clean and sober and doing well. So this is still an issue that, for all the attention it's getting, nothing's changing.
So the stigma, there's been a shift of what that means.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I do believe that.
Yeah.
Yep. Look, I know we're going to do more of these and we're going to talk more about stuff because I think this is extremely important for people to know about. And I think it's extremely for people to know about this because, it's that old saying we have around here, it can happen to you and nobody thinks it can happen to them. Well, yeah, it can, and it does, and it is, and it's happening to more and more people every day. So we need more and more people to, again, you don't have to dedicate your life to it like we are. You don't have to do those things, right? But I'm tired of hearing everybody bitch about no change and nobody's helping to change anything. That's pretty much saying it like it is.
Yeah.
Or just don't say anything at all.
Yeah. I wish I had the immediate snap my fingers solution to what it was.
Right? Don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't we all? Even people that are in this, even people that claim to be in this, I have noticed over the last 2.5, 3 months, whatever it is they were doing, Now it's down to nothing.
Sure.
What, guys, are you stopping because it's summer?
Sure.
Because it's vacation time? There's no stopping in this. You're either in it or you're not.
Yeah.
You're either in or you're out.
Are you in or are you out?
Right?
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in. Are
Right?
you in? All right.
I'm not out. I'm in. Right? So we look, we're going to keep fighting it. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep making noise about it. Join us. Don't, whatever, but don't bitch about anything if you're not going to join in the fight.
Yeah.
Don't bitch about the outcome. If it's like voting for somebody. Everybody's bitching about what's going on in California. Well, guess what, gang? You voted for them.
Yeah.
You're the ones that put everybody in office right now. You're the ones that put people in office that have sat there and said, and I quote from Assemblyman Zuber from Santa Monica, California, I just can't believe every drug dealer is lacing every pill with fentanyl. That's who you have sitting on the Public Health and Safety Committee. And by the way, all the rest of them say the same thing.
What qualified him to get there?
Right. What about the lady that looked at her own Pam Smith after Pam telling her story about her son Jackson and losing Jackson, and this assembly woman looks at her and says, Miss Smith, is it really going to do any good to put that person in prison? Why didn't that assemblywoman walk up to Pam and smack her right in the nose?
Yeah.
Because that's what she did.
Yeah.
Because that's what she did.
Unreal. Unreal.
The world or the people in the state of California need to hear that. They need to see that this is what these people are saying up there. This isn't a lie. This is on the record.
Yeah.
I'm in the hearing. It's on the record. How dare they not even want to hear the bill?
Yeah.
It's their job to hear the bill. It's in the Constitution, folks.
The only time they're going to hear it is if enough people make a noise and they start to go, oh, this is what my constituents want.
Right. But my point here with this one is that they are not even hearing bills that have been proposed for them to hear. They're saying, no, we're not going to hear it. What do you mean you're not going to hear it? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
You have to. It's a law. Who's given you the right to take that away from us?
But they got lunch, Flindt.
They got lunch.
Right?
Right?
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And you've got your 2 minutes or whatever it is, and you can't respond to anybody. I mean, they certainly have their rules in there.
Yeah. Well, when this happened, you got to understand the Sacramento Kings were in the playoffs. They've got priorities. They got to get over to the arena.
That's exactly right.
It makes you wonder, like, what? Yeah.
Makes you wonder.
I don't know. Unfathomable.
Yeah, it is.
Is it going to help if that person was in jail? I don't know. If they went through some other means and took a life, wouldn't you put them in jail?
Right? What happens if they walked into, well, in today's world, what? You can walk into 7-Eleven, blow somebody away. You're probably not going to go to prison.
Yeah. Right. I know. It's gotten crazy.
Oh, well.
We could start down a whole nother path on that one.
Yeah, we can.
So our stigma, it's a shift. It's a shift.
It is a shift.
Because, awareness has been raised that it's, all this stuff exists, but,
right.
We got to get beyond the idea. Of course, it's not a moral failure. We got to get people beyond that.
Right.
Right. We've agreed it's not a moral failure. Now, what are we going to do?
Now, what are we going to do? Right. Again, God bless us here in Fresno County. I mean, the billboards, the awareness piece of this has been tremendous. But I have to look at it and go, and I think it has, about what I'm about to say. Has a billboard sign saved somebody? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I really do.
I believe that maybe a parent in turn talked to their children through it, or
you bet
something out.
You bet. But how much more of that do we have to continue to do? Is that the best place to put resources to help the addict and their families? Is that the best place? I don't know. I'm posing the question.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I'm
because I honest to God, I just don't see funding for treatment facilities at all.
Yeah.
Whether they're county run facilities or private ones. I just don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the county ones, I mean, how many beds are there? Is there is there an overflow? So how are you gonna end up having to wait if you're one of those people that don't have insurance or government insurance, a subsidized insurance? So you get on that wait list, and maybe that moment of clarity that you had that you want to get help is completely gone away.
Right.
Because it goes quick.
It goes real quick.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, you've done it. I don't know how many times, between midnight and 4 a.m. where you've gone when somebody's had their moment of clarity and gotten them on the path.
Right. And you can't, by the way, do that with county run or governmental run facilities.
Sure.
They're 8 to 5 people. They don't take the phone calls after hours.
Yeah.
And when somebody wants help, look, most addicts want help for 2 reasons. One is they have already started to go through the withdrawal symptoms because they don't have any of their drugs. And of course, the number 2 reason is they can't find any drugs. I mean, this isn't rocket science. But who cares?
Yeah.
They're making the phone call. Now, if they make that phone call at 2:00 in the morning and nobody answers the phone, now even private treatment centers may not answer their phone at 2:00 in the morning. Not all do. Most do. Yeah. Right. There's a 800 number that at minimum somebody's going to answer the damn phone. But government facilities, no. County run facilities, no. They're not going to answer. And they're so inundated with people that they're not even taking people into their facilities from a Thursday night to a Sunday. They're not even taking them. What do you do with the people that call? What, they're just going to call Monday through Wednesday?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
So anyway, broken systems, that's what it is. It's broken systems.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think until we shift a lot of those incentives and things of that nature, it's going to be how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And we got to keep fighting the fight as is.
Yeah. And we'll keep it up.
Yeah. Mr. Andersen, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you, man.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call Parents and Addicts in Need at 559-579-1551 or check us out online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media at Pain Nonprofit. Please subscribe to the podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. To donate, please click the link in the description and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.